So as someone who's been in Dubai, the UAE for the last year, what are my pros and what are my cons? I'm going to go through the positives that I have seen in the UAE, and I'm going to go through some of the negatives. And so if you're looking to move out to the UAE at some point, trust me, this video hopefully will give you a lot of value. Coming from the UK to the UAE, one of the things that you notice straight away is how safe of an environment the UAE is, Dubai. And so to give you an idea, there are many times where people will leave their houses open. People will leave their cars open. Actually, it's quite, you can wear whatever you want and not have to worry about it. You can wear whatever watch you want and you know you're not really going to get robbed or attacked or that sort of thing. And while coming from the UK, that is a little bit new because you have to be careful no matter where you are. Number two, I'm a Muslim. And as a Muslim, you're respected. And that's huge because some countries, I come from the UK, sometimes you're not respected in all parts of work, environment of, you going out with your family. Sometimes you can be a little bit disrespected. I think that's a little bit normal these days. But the good thing is when you're in the UAE, you're respected massively. If you dress like a Muslim, if your wife dresses like a Muslim, you will get respected even more. And so you're proud to be a Muslim. In fact, it's much easier to pray. There are so many massages everywhere. And so I would say overall environment for Muslims is amazing when you're looking at the UAE. Number three, I would say the amenities in Dubai, the UAE are really good. And so, when you come from the UK, or the Western world, you expect things to be a certain way. You expect nice shopping places, you expect nice food places, you expect things to be a certain way. And I think the standards are really, really good. In fact, I would say the standards are higher than, what I've experienced in the UK. I mean, shopping malls are really nice. You can get whatever you want in terms of the food, in terms of the shopping, in terms of clothes. And so these things are super important because, sometimes you think about moving to a country and you think, well, actually, am I going to get the amenities that I would get in the country that I was from? And that can be a negative. But in the UAE, I mean, there's no shying away from, you're going to get the best of the best. Look, obviously, that comes at a price and we will cover some of the negatives, but it does mean that you get whatever you want and you can have something if you wish to have it. Now, lastly, obviously, the weather is amazing. I'm someone who loves heat. I love the sun. And so, yeah, there comes a point where it gets a little bit too hot. I think that's probably for most people, right? I think the 2 months in the summer, they definitely get very, very hot. But I do like May. I don't mind, late April, May. I think June, July, August, it is when it is, very, very hot. And so apart from that, the weather is amazing. I think, just waking up with the sun being out is an amazing feeling. And so, it's one of the best things about the UAE with everything else. But I think, look, with every place, there are always negatives with every place. And so some of the negatives, it is expensive. There's no shying away from the fact that it is expensive. Coming from the UK, Dubai is definitely a lot more expensive. I actually live in Sharjah, and that is not because of money necessarily, more because I like an Islamic environment, and Sharjah is an amazing Islamic environment. By the way, I don't think Sharjah gets enough PR, but I would say Dubai is super expensive. I would say it's probably more expensive than central London, right? Sharjah is still expensive. It's probably, like the outskirts of London. Now, obviously, the good thing about Sharjah, to be fair, is you can get super cheap stuff as well, which is amazing. So with the UAE, you have, when I say the UAE, I haven't been in Abu Dhabi, but I've been in Dubai and I've been in Sharjah. You get the really expensive things and you can get really cheap things as well. So at least there's two sides. You get the really expensive stuff if you want that, but you can get really cheap things if you want that too. Now, obviously, I live in Sharjah and I go to Dubai often. I don't work. I actually run my own businesses. I have my own recruitment company. But, the traffic, it can be tough. The traffic is gruesome many a times. Though I think, if you're traveling outside of the traffic times and there are certain ways and certain routes where there isn't that much traffic, but if you're going from Sharjah to Dubai and Dubai to Sharjah, you're going to hit traffic, right? Especially, obviously, I mean in terms of like the working hours. But outside of that, it's fine. When the sun's shining and you've got a nice car, you're probably a lot more happier driving than maybe where I come from, the UK, where it's raining and you're having to drive home at 4 o'clock sometimes. And it's coming, the sun is setting, so I would say from that perspective, it is definitely a lot nicer. Now, this is probably one of the most important points, and I don't think a lot of people would have mentioned this. And I think this may be one of the reasons that I look to move in the future. In fact, I would say this would probably be the only reason. The UAE is very, very nice. Dubai is very nice. Sharjah is very nice. And sometimes it's too nice. What do I mean by that? I have a son, right? And I believe that the person I am today is because of, the experiences I've had, the negatives, it has made me to who I am today. I think as men, it's very important to get roughened up sometimes. I don't mean in terms of fighting, of course not. I just mean in terms of going through difficult periods of your life, right? And I think the UAE is like a bubble. It's just so nice. It's honestly, everything is so nice and so perfect, and so food and out you go shopping and everyone's smiling and everyone's happy. And I just think that when you're trying to raise, your children, and when you're trying to raise boys and stuff like that, you do want them to experience, them being uncomfortable. You want them to experience negatives. You want them to experience, something going wrong. Right? And not a lot goes wrong in the UAE. Alhamdulillah. I say Alhamdulillah, but it's just so nice that sometimes you're pampered. And I think it's important to go outside of that pampering, because really and truly the world is very big and there are a lot of people in the world that are struggling. Important to not forget that, but it can be very easy to forget that poverty exists in the UAE, right? It's crazy to say, but you can't forget that. And so I would say that, maybe there will come a time where I think, I am way too comfortable. Oh, I keep my, wife, inshallah in the future, I have daughters and I keep daughters and wife in the UAE. And, I take the sons and myself, we go away for 1-2 weeks and, we experience toughness. You know what I mean? We need to experience, living rough, or living in an environment which isn't more comfortable. I think that's important. And so look, hopefully this video has given you some benefit. I think overall the UAE for me, 9.5 out of 10. I don't know of a better place to live. I love the UAE. It's an amazing place. I think from an Islamic perspective, amazing. So hopefully this video was of benefit. If you're looking to move out to the UAE, there are many ways you can move out to the UAE. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that. If you want me to do that, leave a comment in the description. Like this video, share with your family and friends. That's all from me today.